It's 2 in the morning. You've been lying here for over an hour. Your body is exhausted, but your brain refuses to stop. Thoughts keep arriving, uninvited. You run through tomorrow's problems. You replay conversations. You check the clock again. And the harder you try to sleep, the more awake you become. This is not laziness. It's not anxiety at its core. It's a biological malfunction, and science now understands exactly what's happening inside that brain. The moment your head hits the pillow, something shifts. Suddenly, every thought you managed to ignore during the day comes rushing back. Louder, faster, harder to dismiss. Your body knows it needs sleep. The tiredness is real. But something is keeping the switch stuck in the wrong position. And understanding what that something is changes everything about how we approach it. Why does this happen? What is actually going on inside the brain when sleep refuses to come? To understand insomnia, you first need to understand how the brain normally regulates sleep. There are 2 separate biological systems at work, and they must cooperate for sleep to happen. The first is called sleep pressure, or process S. From the moment you wake up, a chemical called adenosine accumulates in your brain. Hour by hour, it builds. The longer you're awake, the stronger the pressure to sleep. This is why you feel progressively more tired as the day goes on. The second is your circadian rhythm, process C. As we explored in episode 4, this is your body's internal clock, signaling when it's biologically appropriate to sleep based on the time of day. Normally, these 2 systems work in sync. Sleep pressure builds throughout the day, and the circadian clock confirms that night has arrived, and sleep comes naturally. But in insomnia, something disrupts this cooperation. The leading scientific model of insomnia is called the hyperarousal model. Simply put, the insomniac brain is running too hot. It shows measurably higher metabolic activity at night than a brain that sleeps normally. Higher core body temperature, higher heart rate, higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Essentially, the brain cannot transition from its daytime operating mode into the quieter state required for sleep to begin. The accelerator is stuck. The brake won't engage. And here's the cruelest part of the cycle. Lying awake, worrying about not sleeping, generates more cortisol, which makes it even harder to sleep, which generates more worry. A self-reinforcing loop that can last for years. One of the most important discoveries in insomnia research is the role of conditioned arousal. Over time, the brain can learn to associate the bedroom, the bed, the pillow, even the act of trying to sleep, with wakefulness and frustration. This is a classical conditioning response, the same mechanism that makes your mouth water at the smell of food. Except in this case, the bedroom triggers alertness instead of sleep. For many people with chronic insomnia, they sleep better almost anywhere else. A hotel, a couch, a stranger's guest room, because those environments haven't been conditioned yet. It's worth being clear about what insomnia is not. It is not a character flaw. It is not simply stress. And, critically, it is not a deficit of sleep ability. Most people with insomnia can sleep perfectly well under the right conditions. The ability to sleep is intact. What's disrupted is the system that allows the brain to shift into sleep mode at the right time. Brain imaging studies have consistently shown that people with insomnia have higher glucose metabolism in wake-promoting brain regions, even during sleep. Their brains are, quite literally, more awake at night. Research from the National Institutes of Health has documented the cortisol and heart rate elevation in people with chronic insomnia, confirming that this is a physiological state, not simply a perception or a habit of thought. The most evidence-backed treatment for insomnia is not medication. It is cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, known as CBTI. Multiple meta-analyses have found it more effective than sleeping pills for long-term outcomes, with effects that last after treatment ends, unlike medication, which works only while taken. CBTI works by directly targeting the two core drivers of chronic insomnia, hyperarousal, by reducing physiological and mental activation at night, and conditioned arousal, by rebuilding the brain's association between the bed and sleep. So what does understanding the science of insomnia change in practice? One of the most counterintuitive but effective strategies is to get out of bed when you can't sleep, not as a punishment, but to protect the brain's association between bed and sleep. If the bed is where you lie awake for hours, you are training your brain to be alert there. The goal is simple. Only be in bed when you are actually sleepy, not just tired, not just lying there, hoping. Sleepy, eyes heavy, difficult to keep open. When that feeling arrives, return to bed. Other elements of CBT-1 include establishing a consistent wake time regardless of how little you slept, which rebuilds sleep pressure systematically, and techniques for quieting the hyperarousal cycle before the sleep window begins. Understanding insomnia as a biological system problem, rather than a personal failing, is itself one of the most important shifts. The brain learned to do this. It can learn to do something different. This content is for educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. If you experience chronic insomnia, consider speaking with a qualified sleep specialist. Let's bring it together. Insomnia is not the absence of sleep ability. It's a brain stuck in a state of hyperarousal, running too hot, too alert, unable to make the transition into the quieter mode that sleep requires. That clock at 2 in the morning, that ceiling you've been staring at, it's not a sign that something is broken beyond repair. It's a sign that the brain has learned a pattern, and patterns can be unlearned. Millions of people live with insomnia, and for most of them, the most powerful intervention available has nothing to do with pills. It has to do with understanding what the brain is doing and giving it a different set of signals. In the next episode, we go back to the foundations, sleep deprivation, and what it does to the body over days, weeks, and years. What does chronic short sleep actually cost us? That's episode 6 of Decoding Sleep.